and with that, I guess it's time to get into this level design. So hello, my name's Curtis Long, and this is my DES205 level design submission. So first off the bat, I have a tutorial message for the player. This is mostly done just so everyone knows how to play and how to look around. Mostly just as a housekeeping thing, just to make sure everyone who can pick up the game knows how to play. One thing that I kind of stole from a game I like, Demon Souls, and is mainly the reason for the sound effect you just heard, is this. So this is a small collectible treasure. There's 6 of these throughout the level. If you pick up, it makes a nice sound. And basically, I take inspiration from this from Demon Souls. As in the start of the first level, they have a nice little item for you in the back if you decide to turn around and look for it. And also, it's to act as a form of game narrative and world building. As you can see, we're in a cave currently, and there's been a cave in. So I had a nice sound effect of rocks falling to illustrate that to the player for when they move the camera around and decide to turn around. So here we have the first door in the level. Because it's just a little bit down, it's a little bit hard to see. I've added like a nice light just so player can clearly see that this is a door and that there's surroundings around them, and a nice bit of UI text. I took a bit of inspiration from this UI text from the lectures on readability and usability. The most common example being from the design of everyday things and talking about norm doors. And the reason is I'm bringing this up is because initially I had my interactables and my doors just with the light alone. However, one issue with it was people were just having difficulty reading it, and it was causing lots of frustration. So I'd say to go for a bit of text. And one thing I was wanting to bring up as well is some users also decided that they wanted to go back through the door, and they were wondering, well, why can't I do that? And so I just provided, and they were getting a bit annoyed and a bit frustrated when trying to do this until they realized they couldn't. So to allow can more easily convey this to the player, I have a nice little text pop up when you're on the other side of the door, which says, "Hey, stuck. We can't get back through." So moving onwards, the design here is mostly designed just to funnel the player forward and obscure the player's view on this side, as I'm hiding a collectible here. So the players will immediately come forward and they'll be met with this arrow trap based off of the same trap from the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark. So this trap's intended mostly to catch the players by surprise the first time, where they just walk onto it and in this case they'd be killed, and oh no, what's happened? And I took a bit of inspiration from Game Maker's Toolkit for this one when he was talking about how to make great puzzles. As originally I had a solution on the board, on a interactable board here, where the player would walk towards this after coming through the door. They'd click on a button and it would give them the combination of tiles to walk on. However, I found that this just generally wasn't fun. So instead I decided to use a nice crack decal I found on the internet to illustrate to the player which tiles are dangerous and which tiles aren't, which tiles are safe, like this one here, which would guide the player on how to cross safely. So let's pick this up. The sound effect was produced by another student. I should have his SoundCloud referenced as well in the actual document, if anyone wants to take a look at that after this. So anyway, moving through, on the tutorial UI message here, this teaching the player how to jump with the spacebar. Sorry again for the disjointed nature of this, I'm not very good at speaking on camera. So one thing you might have noticed when I was platforming across was from the other side there's a small bit of this light here reflecting onto this orb. This is just to give the more observant player notification that, hey, this is hiding in the dark for the player to pick up. Again, our sound effect. Our door. Here, I'd say to take a bit of inspiration from a 2015 GDC talk, How to Tell Stories and Guides Players Through Level Design. As one thing I noticed is originally when I was coming to this hallway, and things with hallways, readability is it's a bit confusing sometimes because they don't know which way to go. As some players, when I was testing this, decided just to instinctively look this way, and they'd be brought towards a door. Um, the same readability issue applied with the doors there, so I did add some UI text. But after watching that video, I learned the importance of sort of signaling to the player, hey, or sort of indicating to them, hey, this is sort of where the path goes or where you should be going. So I decided to add an additional spike trap here. Another GDC actually, while I'm referencing GDC talks I've watched, was on the 2018 block meshing tutorial. Specifically, it was an introduction to block meshing and level design tips from 2018. It was a panel hosted by Naughty Dog developer, and it's discussed how shapes can influence how players interact with an environment. For here, for example, these are quite jagged and harsh edges and harsh spikes. So this is meant to deter players. We've also got a blood decal and some and a menacing red light to prevent them from wanting to come closer. Although if they did, in the final finished build of in the final finished hypothetical build, this would come out. However, due to time constraints, I've just not been able to make that. So instead, I've used a kill box here in the light. Well, not a kill box, a teleporting piece of teleporting code, where once you step into it, you're teleported back to a checkpoint here. And the challenge of this hall is to maneuver within the lights, similar to the scene in the movie, where you would walk through and dodge the lights. And here we're coming through to the boardwalk corridor. So initially this room was going to be an rope swinging section, where once you were done with here, you'd be running through back down there, and there'd be a boulder that would chase you, similar to in the film. Raiders of the Lost Ark, which this level was based on. However, due to time constraints, unfortunately I wasn't able to implement those. So instead, I've crafted some unique challenges of my own, which are unique to this interpretation of the build. So walking across the board, I've given some indicators to differentiate this board from the other ones with a nice crack decal, sort of to indicate this is old, aged, and not good, and sort of nearly fallen apart wood to the player. And that's just a general nice affordance to let the player know, hey, this probably isn't safe to walk over, which we'll see more of in a minute. And also, there's a treasure here, which can be seen as you're crossing over. This was designed to garner player interest, sort of like wondering, how do I get up here? And there's a door, so naturally the player can't get up here, so they're instinctively led to the door. And in this puzzle, this is created a bit of a trap. So the light here is designed to immediately grab the player's attention and guide them towards the idol, which is the main collectible of the level. However, I noticed that some players would also be drawn to this, which could lead them to leave this room a bit early. So I just added a piece of code to say, hey, gotta get the idol first before you can break this. So for the sound design of the idol, I took a little bit of inspiration from the item Get from The Legend of Zelda. This is mainly due to limitations of the code, as what ended up happening with this was the idol would take a second to disappear. So when I was working with another student to create a sound for this, we took a look at Zelda, and we thought it would be a fairly good fit for the level. And here's the wall getting destroyed. And the payoff for the earlier trip, there's now an idol for the player to pick up. And as previously warned, this bridge isn't very stable. So if you walk across it the second time, it's going to fall into a pit of spikes. It's not very good. And this is to indicate to the player then, oh, there's another path here which they can take. Other players might notice this path more immediately, and as a reward, they'll be able to circumvent that board. But generally, most players, including myself in this case, will fall for that, which was just a nice little trap, which I thought would be pretty fun. And here, as we're getting out, the player might notice an idol here reflecting in the light. Might even notice it a bit earlier. So as they're moving between the lights, as an additional challenge for the player, they've got to, I'd say, just have them just shimmy in between the light and this part here, just to grab it and then just step away just safely. And as said previously, this was originally going to be a rope swing. However, I decided to create a platforming challenge instead, mostly due to the fact that I couldn't manage to get a rope swing set up in time. So for this, the idea of this was to basically combine the three hazards the player's been put up with so far, so the wooden boards, the spikes, and platforming. Oh, I've missed. And the idea of this is to basically just give the player one last test before the level's over. And they'll be brought towards a sign, prompting them to press the button to leave the level. However, any curious players will be able to find an additional last collectible just off at the side. So yeah, thanks for listening, and yeah, have a good day. A no commentary version of this level playthrough will be in the description.